Peace. All right, here we have Quantic Illusion down in the bottom left corner of Cloud Kingdom. He is the red Terran, facing off against another Evil Geniuses player, actually one of their newest additions. It is Suppy, short for Superior Wolf. I don't know if you guys knew that about Suppy, but Conan, the player here, this Blue Zerg, is actually a Bay Area resident, and we went to an event with the Team Rain guys around Christmas time, Zerg Christmas, and Suppy had a decent showing there, and actually he's had a lot of success this year at MLGs and other events, beating some very good Korean players, getting very far. He was actually the furthest U.S. player in one of the MLG events, beating a couple of Koreans, so he's got some good accolades, and he's still getting better. Did very well in Asus ROG as well, the Republican Gamers event. He, I believe, he was very close to the top placing foreigner or something along those lines, but he did very well at the event. Cloud Kingdom is kind of an interesting map for TVZ. It's not one you usually see this matchup on. It's a very common map for kind of macro long PVZs and mirror matchups. Usually anytime a Protoss player is involved, but for TVZ, can kind of get a little crazy, maybe even a little bit cheesy from Terran players too, who decide to use the fact that you have a very large main to maybe get Banshees out a bit quicker and get them a little bit closer to their opponent. Yep, and that's a build that we've seen quite a lot of in TVZ, is just getting to Banshees as quickly as you can. Blue Flame Hellions actually not as popular as you'd think, given that you know, MVP had such pretty good, well, I'll say such success against life. He always killed a bunch of drones. What he did after the Blue Flame Hellions was kind of his undoing in that series, but the Blue Flame Hellions really can get you a big advantage very quickly in this matchup, and it seems like a lot of players favor just going for the Banshees, doing, you know, regular Hellions to get things started, getting into that Banshee transition as quick as they can, and then if the Zerg player has anti-air, they're fine. If they don't, then they usually end up losing dozens of drones. Speaking of Startail Life, and we were, he is actually confirmed. We said it was 75% yesterday, but he is actually confirmed as the next opponent for TSL Hyun in IPL Fight Club. So you will actually be able to see a ZVZ best of 9 for all of those who have been calling for a ZVZ. And we got the very best Zerg player out there right now. Yeah. So there you have it. I'm pretty sure no one can argue that we got the best available opponent to try and take out Hyun. I mean, he's already beaten Code S semifinalists. He's already beaten our IPL 3, excuse me,
IPL 4 champion.
IPL 4 champions alive, and our runner-up Squirtle. He's beaten both of them. Yeah. So I mean, he's beaten some really ridiculously good players. But right now, Life is on top of the world. He's beaten MVP in a 4-3, you know, slugfest just recently, and you know, he's a Zerg opponent, which Hyun has not had to battle yet in Fight Club. So we'll see for sure if he's got the chops on Monday. Do not miss that Fight Club. It's going to be awesome. Illusion putting up 3 racks after his initial expand, decides to single gas though, and usually, or a lot of times you'll see players go for the gasless fast expand into triple gas, but this time going for that engineering bay at the back. I wonder what his approach is going to be. Obviously prioritizing upgrades for now, but where will he move from there? Obviously not going to move into that Hellions into Banshees phase that we see so often. Right, I'm actually a little bit surprised by that, sticking to bio for the purposes of you know, battling against Suppy. Suppy hasn't actually shown a whole lot on his side of things either. Yeah, just a 4-queen build. Absolutely no gas. Yeah, just queens, drones, and overlords so far. Those important macro tools. And yeah, if Illusion you know, gives his opponent some time, you know, I'm sure we'll see a diversion, and eventually he'll build some fighting units, but at the moment, Illusion is just gearing up for heavy bio at the moment. Yeah, and a very quick +1 weapons, maybe a +1 combat shield push, possibly. We'll find out here in a second. Suppy, though, moving over to double gas, and I'm curious to see when he decides to take a third base. Should be about now. Yeah, and it looks like there is a drone heading out there. If he decides to, is he going to decide to prioritize mid-game aggression? Is he just going to take and sit on his gas and move up to 4 or 6 gas very quickly and go up to layer? Not really sure what he'll be planning. Maybe he'll just not ever build fighting units and die. I mean, that's not, that would be horrible. Not the best strategy, that would be horrible. I would say, but it could happen. I mean, so far he hasn't really shown us a whole lot other than you know, drones and queens, but he does have some gas income now, finally spending that first 100 on the Zergling speed upgrade back at the spawning pool. Still has not put up a Baneling Nest or Roach Warren though. And I'm still ready to see what he's going to transition to. Maybe he just wants to wait forever until he figures out what Illusion is actually doing. I see 2 Evo chambers coming up now, but we're not sure, you know, if those are going to be melee or ranged attack upgrades.
I like the position of the evolution chambers, just making sure that this space is as small as possible, minimizes the effect of what Hellions can do. And he decides to move up to a total of 6 queens when all is said and done, going up to his 3rd gas at the same time. There's +1 weapons. There's combat shield, and I discussed a possibility of a +1 combat shield push. We'll see if he actually wants to do that, or if he's just going to wait and sit and tech a little bit more.
That's possible. He's just actually both players just hanging out for the time being, letting the other player build exactly whatever they want to build. We've got +1 melee and armor for Suppy, as well as Zergling speed just about to finish up, making his first round of lings. But Illusion actually has a ton of Marines already standing. This lair is getting upgraded now for Suppy, so he will be able to open his options up a bit more. Doesn't have a Baneling Nest or Roachhorn still. This Overlord is seeing the Marines moving out. There's an SCV trying to sneak by some queens. That's not going to happen. And looks like Suppy's gearing up for a big defense, but we do have, you know, +1 and shields. We just don't have stim yet on these Marines, so I'm curious to see how much damage this is going to do.
Well, it's already killed a couple of lings very quickly. Looks like he's just going to try and power down the Spine Crawler, but he can't get it. And
really
it gets transfused up. Nice job. The Queen's actually keeping most of those alive, but then the Queens just get destroyed. 3 Queens have already fallen. The Marines are going to go down here in a second, as the Lynx do have a total surround now, but the Marines have certainly done some damage. With 3 Queens down, though, there's still 3 Queens up. That means 1 for every base is still available.
Let's look at resources lost. I'm just curious. Yeah, it looks very even. 1106 lost for Suppy, but yeah, he wanted that Spine Crawler really fast, and when he couldn't get it, he just turned his attention to the Queens instead and killed, you know, 3 of them very, very rapidly, and actually killed a great number of Lings too. He put his back up against the wall, so the surface area would be as low as possible. We've got both players with just huge production tabs right now, cranking out tons of upgrades, and you know, Illusion actually has refinery add-ons, armory coming up for additional upgrades. He's got another orbital command flipping over, 2 more barracks being added on, so it looks like all of his production is going to be biocentric, whereas Suppy getting a Baneling Nest infestation pit. I did not see if he actually got a Roachhorn during all that, but
no, bypassing
looks like
entirely.
Yeah, he's just going to go Infestor Ling Baneling for the moment. Still no Spire either, so we'll see if he's, you know, ever going to be able to add that on. But right now, Baneling Ling Infestor is his build of choice.
Likely going to see Hive Tech after the first allocation of gas towards Infestors, and his opponent, though, Illusion, is already very, very highly saturated off of 2 bases. In fact, a bit oversaturated now, as some of his mineral patches are actually starting to get pretty low, and he'll need to take this 3rd base here in just a bit. Big round of Speedlings is going to put a stop to that, at least for the time being, even though the Marines are in a nice spot. They will all eventually die, and it'll require the rest of the forces from Illusion to clean that up, but he is actually planning on just doing a double drop.
Yep, with these 2 medevacs full of Marines, they will need to try and scoot past all these Overlords, which could be difficult since they are positioned pretty much everywhere now for Suppy. If Illusion can make just a Viking or 2, he can try to clean all those out. Looks like the Lings are just going to tail the medevacs the entire way, but oh, that's actually a rough spot. It kills a couple of Lings for free, and now he's unloaded. He realizes he's been caught, and he's not even going to attempt really to get into the hatchery space very easily. He's instead just going to walk forward and try to keep away from those Lings. What actually is going there is just 1 Marine to see if this 4th base is getting established, which it is.
Yes, it is. And the Queen can actually take shots from a single Marine for a pretty good period of time. The Marines have only successfully taken out an Extractor, and that's it, although they do confirm the presence of that base. Suppy starting to build up a very nice force now. 32 more Lings on the way. How many Infestors? This is actually just going to be his 4th, but of course Hive Tech, it's only 20 seconds away from finishing.
Yep, Hive Tech is going to allow him to get up to Greater Spire. You can see that original Spire actually still building, so it is going to be quite a long time before he can start to make Broodlords, but Illusion's still sticking with his Marines composition. That's going to be huge. Actually, those Fungals are going to be just terrible there for Illusion, as Baneling just crashes into those fungal units, and suddenly Illusion has just so much fewer fighting forces available spread between his 2nd and 3rd base that Suppy could actually attack in here if he felt like it. He's going to continue to supplement with more Infestors for the time being.
Those are TRBL levels of terrible.
Terrible.
And, terrible. Adrenal glands being researched. I just want to point out that the creep spread right now for Suppy is insane.
It is pretty darn good.
13 minutes, 40 seconds. He's even got banelings burrowed everywhere. This is ridiculous coverage. Suppy, you're a god amongst men in that regard.
He's got it amongst Zerg, I guess.
Yes.
Would be more
maybe.
technical, but yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that many man Zergs.
No.
I just know Zergs.
There's a woman Zerg, I suppose.
Yeah, there's one, but she's, I mean, whatever. Yeah. So we've got banelings rolling around. It looks like scans are going to be dropped to try and clear out any burrowed banelings, and he is looking for them. Also, of course, going to be able to clear out creep tumors, but he lets one live. No, he doesn't. He doesn't want it to live. He's going to finish off all of them, and he's going to try and push back out, reduce that creep so that Suppy can't just attack into him very, very quickly with that baneling speed and ling speed. So this is an interesting base setup actually here at the third. I'm curious if these banelings are going to get their job done. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to the SCV line, and they're totally going to blow up everything.
Oh, God. That was horrible for Illusion. He did not want that to happen in any way, shape, or form. He's trying to inflict as much damage as he just took, though, by moving out and setting up with a couple of tanks across the map. In fact, there's only one siege tank sitting there. The rest is just pure bioforces, and the longer he delays, the more that Suppy is just going to get in position.
I was going to say this is looking perhaps a bit too slow to be able to counter as efficiently as he wanted to, and you know, Suppy has plenty of time to get into position. He's going to flank that single tank, and you know, any incoming reinforcements, all these Marines and Marauders getting picked off. There's another couple of tanks on the low ground. You can see a fungal trapping those Marines long enough to get baneling blasted down, but these speedlings are all Suppy really needs to take out, and I'm hearing some World Series fighter jets overhead.
There's actually, the World Series just started this second, and we just had a flyover of jets, apparently, so if you heard that, which was kind of weird.
Yeah,
Giants are in the World Series. All right, well, here comes Suppy now. He's going to continue rolling through, and there's nothing to stand in his way. Illusion, looks like even with this attack over on the right-hand side, it will clear up that hatchery. That's just a medevac that's alone, and everything in the front's going down.
Yeah, he's getting through fairly easily now that a couple of depots have been destroyed. The one into the main has already been dropped. All these Marines and Marauders are going to be killed as they exit the barracks. SCVs have nowhere to go, and Illusion just does not have any forces on Suppy's side of the map, so this is pretty much a foregone conclusion. These Lings are just going to continue to chomp down anything that pops out, and Suppy is reinforcing with Lings and Infestors for the time being. 42 workers killed. That's basically everything that Illusion had. He's down to only 32, but has almost no fighting forces left to be able to battle back, even if he does stabilize here.
No, you know, Terrans don't really have that unit other than the Raven, as there's the GG, and Illusion goes down. Suppy takes game number 1 here of this best of 3. There's really no unit that the Terran player besides the Raven can just go ahead and throw back, you know, just dump a bunch of gas into. So
right. So basically, you know, he's just going to keep building Marines toward the end there as long as he can, and
yeah, you pop back over to us here. So back over to webcam, and we are actually working with a new technical director.
That's right.
We're training up today, so apologize for a couple of things there, but there we have it. We are back now, and we're going to jump into game number 2 in a second. Looks like the map is once again going to be Daybreak.
All right. Well, that game there, I think Illusion, you know, maybe stuck on Marines a little bit too long after the Infestors and Banelings got out of hand. He didn't have enough follow-up with the tanks. He only had 2 or 3 out at all, and Suppy was just easily able to surround those tanks with his speedlings. His creep spread again was just ridiculous, so flanking was not even really an issue. He could have gone wherever he wanted. He shut down those drops really effectively with the 2 fungals that we saw on those double medevacs and spotted them really, really quickly. So Illusion just did not have a real chance at aggression in that game. Suppy was just kind of all over him.
Okay, well, that is it for game number 1 of the second best of 3. We're going to run to a commercial break, and when we get back, it'll be time for our second game of the set. We'll see if Illusion can tie things up, or if Suppy can be our second EG player actually here, moving on into the round of 8.